The storm had not rested. It prowled above Howlverse like a living beast, claws of lightning tearing at the sky, thunder howling through the flooded streets. Detective Brandon Gentry moved through the deluge, trench coat plastered to his broad shoulders, boots splashing through ankle-deep water that shimmered with reflections of broken lamplight. His wolf eyes, amber and unblinking, scanned the dark. The town smelled wrong. Burnt ozone, iron, fear. He had patrolled these outskirts 100 times, but never had the silence between thunderclaps felt so heavy. Every howl of wind carried an echo that wasn't wind. Then, clop. Slow, heavy, metallic. Brandon froze. The hairs along his neck bristled. He turned toward the fog-choked road leading into the woods. Another clop. Then another. A rhythm as old as dread. A shape began to form. Tall, mounted, headless. The horse was a monstrous silhouette, steam pouring from its nostrils like smoke from a forge. Its rider gleamed faintly in the lightning, armor black as tar, every plate glistening with rain. In its gauntleted fist burned an axe of living fire. The detective took one breath too long to believe it. Then the horse reared and screamed, a shriek that was neither animal nor man, but both. The air itself shook. Brandon dove aside as the flaming axe carved through where he had been standing, slicing a lamppost clean in two. Sparks hissed in the rain. He ran, boots pounding through water, claws scraping cobblestone. Behind him, the hoofbeats thundered closer, relentless, echoing through his ribs. He darted through alleyways, leapt over fallen debris, heart hammering like a drumline of panic. When he finally burst through the cafe's back door, soaked and panting, Elias and Lyra spun from the basement stairs. "It's real," he gasped, slamming the door shut. "The Horseman's here." The Howling Beans Cafe, once the warm heart of Howlverse, now glowed like a fragile lantern in a sea of storm. Inside, the power flickered. Shadows leapt across the walls. Elias Carter's fur had half risen from nerves, ears twitching with every rumble outside. Lyra Moon, ever composed even when fear trembled at the edges of her voice, adjusted her glasses and said quietly, "You mean from the stories?" Brandon's gaze was a storm of its own. "No, from the curse." The word hung between them, heavier than thunder. Lyra spread her old, water-stained notebook across the table, arcane symbols bleeding into the damp pages. If the portal truly opened last night, something crossed over. The Horseman isn't just a legend, it's an enforcer, bound to unfinished magic. Elias's hands shook as he poured coffee, though none of them would drink it. "So it's hunting whoever opened the portal?" "Or," Lyra murmured, "whatever remains of the souls that vanished." Outside, the storm slammed against the windows like fists. Brandon's claws flexed. "We can't sit here waiting for it to ride back through town. Where would it go?" Elias thought of the cemetery, the place where Howlverse buried its secrets as much as its dead. If it's bound to souls, that's where we'll find its trail. The three stepped into the fury. Rain cut sideways through the air, drumming on hoods and slick fur. The streetlights had all gone dark, leaving only flashes of lightning to paint the world in silver and black. They moved in silence, following faint scorch marks that steamed on the wet road. Each hoofprint glowed red for a heartbeat before fading, like the earth itself was bleeding heat. They reached the edge of town, where the wrought iron gates of the cemetery groaned in the wind. The sign, Howlverse Memorial Grounds, hung by one chain. Beyond it, rows of crooked stones jutted like broken teeth. Lyra's hand trembled as she held her notebook against the rain. "Look," she pointed to the ground, a half-circle of runes scorched into the mud, the same pattern etched around the portal weeks ago. Lightning strobed across the sky, and for a second, the symbols pulsed with faint violet light. "He's not hunting us," she shouted over the wind. "He's hunting the one who opened the portal." Elias's mind raced. Then whoever cast the spell is still here. A roar split the air, not thunder, but something worse. The gates burst open as the Headless Horseman charged from behind the gravestones, flame trailing his weapon. The horse's hooves struck sparks against wet stone and the world became chaos. Brandon was the first to move, shoving Elias aside as the flaming axe cleaved through a marble angel. He shifted mid-leap, fur exploding into charcoal black, eyes blazing gold. His claws met steel, the impact hurling a shockwave of sparks. The horseman's strength was monstrous. One swing sent the detective crashing into a mausoleum wall hard enough to crack it. Elias grabbed a fallen lantern, its glass fractured but still lit. He hurled it at the beast. It shattered against the armor, fire blooming across the horseman's chest. For one precious moment, the creature reared back, the blaze revealing the hollow void where its head should be, a swirling furnace of red mist. Lyra tore pages from her notebook, voice rising in ancient cadence. Tenebris vincula, anima retin. Her chant whipped through the storm, weaving with the lightning. The runes around the horseman flickered. The ground shook. The horseman howled. No throat, no lungs, just pure fury, before the light swallowed him whole. When the thunder faded, only the echo of hoofbeats remained, retreating into the woods. The three stood panting among shattered stones and smoking earth. Lyra sank to her knees, drenched, trembling. "It's not over," she whispered. "That was a binding, not a banishment." Brandon wiped rain from his muzzle, blood mingling with water. "Then we just bought time." Elias looked toward the forest, where the fog churned like breath. "Time for what?" Back at the cafe, they built a fire in the cracked hearth, though the heat barely chased off the chill. The storm still roared beyond the windows, thunder rolling like drums of war. Lyra hunched over the flames, her eyes distant. "We didn't banish him," she said softly, "only delayed him. The curse that opened the portal, it's feeding on imbalance. Humans vanish, and something has to fill that void." Brandon leaned against the wall, arms crossed, the flickering light carving sharp edges across his silhouette. "Then we find whoever started this and make them end it." Elias stared into the fire. For the first time, he noticed the flame pulse in rhythm with the thunder, as if the two were speaking. "What if this isn't one curse," he murmured, "but a chain of them, each one calling the next?" No one answered. The storm's howl filled the silence instead. Then the thunder paused. It wasn't natural. The entire world seemed to hold its breath. Even the rain softened, dripping slower, quieter. The cafe lights dimmed until only the fire remained, its glow too red, too alive. A faint crackle drifted from outside, the sound of something burning in the rain. Elias rose, heart thudding, and crossed to the window. Through the blurred glass he saw it, a flickering orange glow near the tree line. He squinted. Not lightning, fire. And within it, a tall figure of straw and sticks, its shoulders swaying, its head a blazing pumpkin grinning through the downpour. "You've got to be kidding me," he breathed. The figure tilted its burning head as if it heard him. Then, as lightning flashed, it vanished. The storm returned with a roar. Long after the others slept, Elias remained awake, staring into the dying fire. He could still smell smoke from outside, faint and unnatural. His reflection in the window shimmered each time lightning struck. The ghost of the horseman flickering behind him like a memory that refused to fade. He thought of the stranger from weeks ago, the one who had warned him about the spell. The words still echoed. Humans will vanish, and the town won't survive. Every moment since had felt like a countdown toward something greater. The vanishing, the portal, the horseman. And now, whatever new horror the scarecrow heralded. He picked up Lyra's notebook from the table. Between her ink-smeared pages, a symbol caught his eye, the same one etched into the gravestone, the same that had pulsed beneath the horseman's feet. But this time, it wasn't violet or red. Someone had drawn it anew, in charcoal, fresh and smudged. The handwriting wasn't Lyra's. Outside, a single hoofbeat echoed in the distance. Then another and another. The fire guttered out.